Hey everybody, Cranky Motorsports here with a Saturday update. I've been doing videos almost every single day. So I have some updates on the Mighty Mongrel III. I got the grill painted. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do the top part white. I probably will, just because it's too much yellow and I really like the contrast between the white and the yellow. So grill's painted, the side grill piece is painted. And I know everybody's going to be like, oh, do you have another one of those? Because I need one for my Super 12. Well, I do, but I don't. I have one for all the grills I have, and I'm not selling any more of these because every time I sell one, I end up needing one. So call me greedy, whatever you want, but I'm not selling those. I already got the notch cut out of this for the Onan. I took a swag and just made it really big in here because the last time I did one of these, I didn't cut it out enough, and after I painted it, I had to keep trimming it. So based on pictures that I had from my other tractor and how I know the grill sits on there, I just kind of cut it out really big. Hopefully it'll clear. I'm pretty impressed with this XO paint. It goes on, like I said yesterday, it goes on moderately heavy, so I have to probably put 3 or 4 light coats on to make it cover, but it dries really fast and it gives a really nice shine. I mean, this isn't quite dry yet and you really can't tell the shine on this, but the shine is pretty stinking good. I mean, it's comparable to Rust-Oleum, but it seems like it only takes a day to dry versus like a week or 2 weeks. So that's where I'm at with the grill on that guy. I have the red Roper RT16T clone all washed down with engine cleaner. I washed the entire tractor down with brake clean. So this one's ready for me to start dusting inside the frame to get it red, because I don't want yellow paint inside the frame and red on the outside. I think it looks kind of tacky, even though on the Mighty Mongrel III I kind of have some orange paint inside the frame. I reached in as far as I could on that thing, but this paint looks really good. You can see I'm working on filling up the rear end. The manual calls for straight 30 weight non-detergent oil. I happen to pick up a 5-quart jug of 40 weight heavy duty engine oil for 11 bucks. So that's what's going in it, because it's cheap. And after taking one of these things apart, I'm pretty much convinced that you can run any oil in them as long as it lubricates the gears, because they're all straight cut gears. You're not going to ruin this rear end. The oil's almost in there just as a rust inhibitor more than anything else, because there's nothing that really meshes together. You're supposed to come to a stop before you put it in the next gear, so you're not smashing the gears, because it's not synchronized. So I don't really care what I'm putting in there. Put 80-90 in there, put 30 weight, put 40 weight. You could probably run 10-40 or 15-40. I happen to like a little bit thicker, so 30 weight, 40 weight, or 80-90 is probably what I'll still run in these. But this guy's going good. I had to put a tube in this tire because it kept going flat. I have a tube for that back tire because that one popped off the rim last year at plow day. So I'll probably tube both of these because these tires are so stiff. They're probably made for a 5.5 inch wide rim, and these are on a 7 inch wide rim. So the sidewalls are perfectly flat, and what basically happens is when I started getting in a trench and the wheel was turning, because the sidewalls are so stiff, it actually broke the bead off and tore the valve stem off, and I was just spinning inside the tire. So I'm going to tube these because it's the easier way to fix it than trying to unmount them. They're a pain in the butt to get off the rim. So that's where this guy is. My fenders are pretty much dry, and these look really good. I mean, the shine on them is pretty good. You can tell, I mean, you can kind of see that there's like some scratches and imperfections in the paint. I don't care. That's good enough for me. Here's the other one here. Paint came out really good. I'm happy with that. So those are the fenders. What else? I made my little brackets. So these guys that are hanging up here drying, those are the brackets that I'm going to use on the inside of the fenders so that I don't wreck the fenders anymore. Instead of just putting some fender washers in there, I'm going to use those pieces. That's 1.5 inch wide flat stock. The holes are about 10 inches apart, and the length of the bar end to end is just under 12 inches. That's how I made them. I offset the bolts down one way because the holes in the fenders are offset one way. So those are going to work really good to make sure I don't destroy my fenders. And loader, I did a little bit of tinkering on this guy. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to use this nose cone on the RT16T because that's what it's from, obviously.
Hello.
I have one off an RT10. Say hi, Jake.
Hi.
But I haven't decided if I'm going to use this nose cone or the other one on the RT16T clone. I might put this one on just because I have it and it has the sticker on it already, but the paint on it is really bad.
Yeah,
so
really bad.
That's a quick update for now. I'm going to do some more work and I'll come back in a little while.
Yeah.
So right now we have a very, very bright red Roper. I'm actually a little bit disappointed at how bright it is. This is sunrise red, not regal red. I think regal red's probably the color I needed to use. I think the fenders and the footboards are actually going to be quite a bit darker than this. And I had some really, really, really bad runs in the paint, but it's it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to make it perfect. I'm just trying to make it usable. I got some dust and stuff stuck in it because I'm painting outside, and I ran out of masking tape, so by the time I remembered that, I kind of started painting over the shifter decal, so I'll have to buy a new one.
Hi.
There's Jake again. But it's red. It's good enough for now. And I got the footboards for the Mongrel painted bright white.
And it's really cold out here.
That Exo Rust paint, it smells like perfume. Like, I don't know why. It has toluene and whatever that nail polish remover stuff is in it, but it smells pretty good when you paint it. It kind of smells like perfume. So footboards are done for now.
Bad decision.
Tractor's done for now, and I got all my fluids in the rear end for the Mongrel. So for right now, I'm going to take a quick break and go eat lunch, and then I'll come back out and see what else I can get done.
Bye. See you later for the next video.
Alright, I'm trying to make full use out of this day, so what I'm going to try to do now is put the rear fenders on this thing. I got the rear end filled up a little while ago, and paint is pretty much, I'd say it's dry enough. I mean, it's been drying, this has been drying since yesterday afternoon, but I mean, I've touched it all over the place. It feels to be pretty dry. It definitely dries faster than Rust-Oleum does. Well, here's the first glimpse at it with the flat fenders on. I think it looks pretty cool. For some reason, they seem like they stand up taller on this than they do on the 679. Like really tall, but maybe it's just because there's no seat in there yet. I suppose that's probably it. But I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I'm glad I went with the Caterpillar yellow. It certainly looks a lot better than the other light yellow, the Marigold. I really like it. It's coming along. And the funny thing is, so I bought tubes for the front tires on this thing, and I changed that one last night. Well, this one wasn't leaking, and the bead on the rim was fine, but I put it on the tractor since yesterday, and now it's completely flat, and I literally just broke the bead off of the rim. So now I gotta pull that tire off, put a tube in that one. It'll be good to go. And then I gotta tube the two back ones. I'm gonna work on a few other things. I gotta put the clutch spring in it, and I painted the footboards. They're not quite dry enough to put on yet, I don't think. I mean, I could put them on, but I don't know. I might. It depends. I gotta go check on them. So, oh, that Roper is so bright. I don't know if I'm gonna like that paint or not, but it darkened up a little bit since it's been drying, so I guess it's not so bad. But here's the footboards, and there's some pretty good pitting in here, but I'm not really that concerned about it because I'm gonna get some of that tread safe stair tread sticky paper that's kind of like grip tape for a skateboard. I'm gonna put that on those so you won't see any of that crap. I had to use a torch to heat up the steps and melt the glue to get the original rubber off, but it was all cracked in a bunch of spots, so couldn't leave it on. And yeah, the last Mongrel I built, I used an antique white. This time I bought bright white, and the hood was already painted bright white, so I just stuck with bright white. And it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna have to put this stuff in the garage. Well, that was a pretty good, probably half an hour work to put these two tractors together to the point they are. The funny thing is, you know how when you see something one time and you think, oh man, that's an awesome shape, and then you don't see it for a couple months. It's kind of like where you see a chick at a party and you think she's really hot, and then somebody introduces you to her like months later and she's not as good looking as you remember. Well, that's kind of what happened with these fenders. I bought these on eBay probably over a year ago, and they looked really great when I got them. And now that I'm looking at them again, this fender has so much overspray on it, like somebody really poorly sprayed it. But you can see these splotches on there, that's the original paint coming back through. So I think if I clean this thing up and buff off that overspray, these fenders are going to look pretty good. And the two colors, the Sunrise Red and the original Roper Red, aren't really that far off from each other. So I mean, they're, you know, within a reasonable doubt. If the fenders got buffed, it would be a pretty dang close match. I can get it pretty shiny down here, and I'm not really one to buff stuff, but to get this looking good, when I first put it together, I probably will buff the fenders at least to a point. But I got the footboards on, I got the fenders on. These are pretty cool because the footboards actually bolt to the fenders with 5/16 carriage bolts, so they're pretty strong. And I have the rear taillight bracket for this that goes between the two fenders as well. So there's the start to my red Roper RT16T. I might do a few things different on it, like the original lower grille on this was painted body color red. The dash was black, the nose cone and the hood are white. But I kind of want either the dash and the lower grille to match, so I'm either going to paint the lower grille black, or I'm going to paint the lower grille white to match the nose cone and the hood, so it'll kind of look more like my D10S, which that has a Roper nose cone on it. So it might look like this, where I paint the bottom white, I paint the nose cone white and the hood white, or I'm going to paint it black so it looks more like the 76 to 79 Sears tractors, or at least the 76 and 77, where the lower grille was black, the upper grille was white, the hood was white, and the dash was white on those, although this is going to have a black dash. So that's the RT16T project, and this just goes to show, you know, you guys talk all the time, or at least I've heard some people say how much of a pain in the butt it is to get fenders on and off, how hard it is to get the clutch linkage on and off, motors, wiring, whatever it is. In the last 5 or 6 videos I've done, I'm really hoping that you guys start to understand these tractors are very simple. They're not hard to get apart at all, as long as you take your time and you know where the bolts are. So I say it all the time, get a manual. www.searstractormanuals.com. All the manuals there are free. A lot of them came from me. A lot of them came from other members of the Sears Suburban Backyard Tractor Club and the old guys from My Tractor Forum way back in the day. We sent all of our manuals in. They got scanned and they got uploaded. They're free to get. They help out a lot. I mean, I've done so many of these tractors now, I can almost tear them down and rebuild them with my eyes closed. And don't ask me, I don't want to try that. I'm just saying I've done them that much. Putting the fenders on and off this thing is a matter of 10 or 15 minutes. If you have to take the seat and the gas tank off, it's another 10 or 15 minutes. They're really not difficult at all. So don't get scared when you go to work on this stuff. That's the RT16T. And then the Mighty Mongrel III over here. Again, I showed it already with the rear fenders on. They look pretty neat. Again, I don't remember them standing up quite that tall on the 679, but I'll have to put them side by side and see. It could also be because I put those extra brackets. So that piece I was talking about earlier, this bracket here, goes all the way between the front bolt and the rear bolt. And that actually keeps the fender a lot more stable on there, and it won't break the bolts out of it. So that was just something I thought of, you know, off the cuff when I was doing this. And I got the footboards on. So I was, you know, it may look a little bit like a Cub Cadet with the yellow and the bright white, but I don't really think it's going to be that bad. The other one I used antique white and old Caterpillar yellow. This is just straight Caterpillar yellow and bright white, so it's a little bit different. But it's not the same tractor. This is the Mongrel 3, that was the Mongrel 2. And this is the dash I'm going to use for it, right here, the white one. That's actually off of this tractor. So that's off of a 73 SS16. Dash is in really, really good shape. I don't even think I'm going to paint it just because I don't want to wreck the stickers on it. I don't feel like masking it. Everything on it is in good shape. It just needs to be cleaned. So I'm going to wash it really good before I put it on the tractor, and it's going on just like that. And then the grill I already showed you guys. I am going to mask off the front of this thing and paint the top of this white because that's how it's supposed to be, but it's going to have to dry for a couple of days before I can do that. And the other side grill piece is all painted up, ready to rock and roll. So yeah, the tractors are coming along pretty good. This one, I think I have a regular black high back seat for it that I'll probably put on it. I don't know, I might put a pan seat on it. Oh, I have a square pan seat Josh Morrell gave me right there. That's going on the Roper because everything on the Roper is all angly and square. So that's going to have that square pan seat on it. This is actually going to get a plastic under the seat tank. They do fit in between the Roper fenders. And I have the longer seat spring to go on that as well. So the seat spring will be black as well because that's what they were painted originally. And I did accidentally paint over the shifter decal. I'm going to either order a new one or make one. I've actually printed them out on my computer, laminated them, and then glued them onto the frame before, and they look okay. That's only if I'm feeling really cheap. I mean, again, I don't have much in this. Most of the money I have in this tractor now is actually just in the fenders and the footboards and the dash and the steering wheel to make it a Roper. So I probably have, I think the fenders and the footboards I probably have about 120 bucks in. The steering wheel, well, I have two of them. One of them I bought for about 45 bucks. The other one came on the RT10 that I have. And the grill, or the nose cone, the one that's on the loader right now, which says RT16T on it, actually I bought for this tractor. So I might use that one and just tape off the decals and paint it white and do the front fascia black like it's supposed to, because that's the correct one for this tractor. I also have an RT10 nose cone, but I think I want to put this one on that tractor because it's correct for that tractor, and I need to put a Sears nose cone back on this. The main reason I stuck this nose cone on the loader tractor is when I would raise and lower the loader, these hydraulic lines, which are actually, I think, a 3/8 pipe, they were hitting the front of the grill up here. And through months and months of looking at it and screwing around, I finally just yanked the nose cone off because I didn't want to mess it up. Well, then I figured out that if I put this one on, because the top of the nose cone angles back, that the lines would clear it. Well, then through further looking at it, I noticed this bracket right here that holds all my hydraulic lines, the lines were on the back side of this bracket, so they were actually over here, and that's about an inch closer to the front of the grill. They're actually supposed to be in front of that bracket. So what I had to do to make this work, I had to cut about 1/4 of an inch off the bracket that sandwiches the pipes on, switch all the pipes in front of that thing, clamp it all back on, and now everything clears it so I can put a Sears nose cone back on this tractor. Unfortunately, the only good Sears nose cone I have left is this one, which, for those of you who have never seen it, this is my new old stock, never installed on a tractor, perfect nose cone. And I've said it before, if somebody wants to buy this thing, I'll sell it, but you're not going to get it out of my hands for any less than 325 or 350 bucks. And it's mainly because that's the only one I've ever seen, and I don't really want to sell it. But I also really don't want to put it on that tractor. So there is the alternative. I could always take this nose cone off of this tractor and put it on the loader, which that one I had originally done for the D10S. That's why it's antique white, or it might even be almond, I'm not sure. I could put that one on the loader tractor, but then I need to put one on this tractor. Although the other thing I had thought about with this tractor, because that's a 1974, I had thought about making a 500,000th clone tractor. So maybe that's what I should do, put the brand new nose cone on this tractor, turn that into a 500,000th clone. The only thing that tractor needs is a brake band. Everything on it works perfectly. I believe it charges too. The headlights might not work because those I had put, those aftermarket LEDs, for some reason the Onan rectifier doesn't work well with those lights, and I burned out 3 of them and finally gave up. But that would be a really good candidate for a 500,000th tractor because it is a 74 and the 500,000th was a 74. So would be a good good clone for it. I don't even know what serial number this one is because I put that big tank under the seat and it covered up the shifter plate. So, I don't know, but this tractor runs good. I took that one to Zagre last fall with my kids and towed my trailer around with it. And this one's a 73. You can tell by the 2-spoke steering wheel. And actually this is a 73 SS16 as well. But now it's going to be a clone of like a 75 or 76 RT16T. So this video is getting pretty long. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I might throw in some more time lapse if I decide to do anything else. I may test fit the dash on this thing, but I'm not really sure if I want to do that yet because the paint's still pretty wet on the red tractor. I did get some grass and stuff stuck in it when I was putting all those parts on, so I'm going to try to wipe it all off. But thanks for watching Cranky Motorsports. Have a fantastic weekend. Remember, in this coronavirus crap, look at the bright side of it. You're home, a lot of you can get a lot of stuff done that you normally wouldn't have time to do. These two tractors I've been thinking about redoing. Well, the Mongrel 3 I've only had for about a month, but I wanted to build another one ever since I sold my other one. And this RT16T has literally been 2 years that I've been collecting parts for it and trying to put it together. Now I'm finally doing it. It doesn't take a lot of time. You can spend an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, do tons of work on these things. And literally in a week of afternoons, you could have a tractor stripped down, cleaned, repainted, put back together, rewired, and running. It's just a matter of trying to get out and do it. Get off your butt. Don't be lazy. Don't sit in your house and mope and say this whole coronavirus thing stinks. It does stink, but you know what? You can make something good out of it. Get out in your garage, tinker, have some fun, and make sure that you keep tractoring. Have a great weekend from Cranky Motorsports. One more little thing that I wanted to cover in this video. I've showed it in some of my other videos. You see the clutch in here? I have a 1/4-inch eyelet, or an eye bolt, going through the clutch bracket on here, and I also have one in the back of the frame over here. So that's what I use for the clutch. Every time I take one of these things apart, I replace the cotter pins with these because those aren't going to break and wear out when you least need them, where the cotter pins often do. The other thing is the springs that I use. If you go on Home Depot's website and you type in Hobby Horse Spring, HOBBYHORSE spring, Hobby Horse, you can get these. If you get them from Lowe's or some other places, they're called gate springs. I think Tractor Supply has these. They're called gate springs. They're about 5.5 inches long, and I think it's a 0.21 diameter spring on these. That's what I use for the springs on my clutches. They work really well. They have just enough tension to keep it held really tight, but because it has a different, it like tapers down at the ends, it's kind of a progressive spring rate. So when you use it on the clutch, it's actually pretty soft on the pedal, but it gives you more than enough tension to keep that thing tight. So that's just another pro tip from Cranky Motorsports.